Another super Friday afternoon on independent television and radio here in Benin City. My name is Kingsley Okoje, and the program is, of course, Hitches and Voices. For those who are joining us for the first time, Hitches and Voices is a program that centers around persons with disability, not just in Edo State, but in Nigeria at large. The program Hitches and Voices comes to you courtesy Network for the Advancement of People with Visible Disability, NAPVID. NAPVID is indeed a non-governmental organization here in Nigeria that is advancing the rights of persons with disability. If you've been following this program, we've centered our conversation around the Get Your Child to School Disability Not a Barrier. We did this last week. We are continuing that subject today because education is indeed important in the lives of every child, including children with disability. My guest with me today is Rebecca Mamedu. I almost missed that. No problem. Rebecca Mamedu is a volunteer with NAPVID. She is having a wonderful time with us at NAPVID. She'll be sharing her perspective with us today on the program as regards to ensuring that children with disability are in school. Our sign language interpreter, as usual, is our own beautiful Cynthia Godwin Aya. She indeed will be doing justice to our deaf community. That's the show today. I would like to say that for those who followed last week, you recall that we featured a girl called Osawie Imasue. Good to know that she's on her way to law school now, and she set the tune. Herself and Gloria Ubong, who featured on this program last week, set the tune for today's conversation. That as visually impaired persons, as persons with disability, disability is no barrier why you cannot be educated. In a time where the conversation is about ensuring that we get our children out of the street, we hear that there are 10 million children out of schools in Nigeria. But when this conversation is hard, nobody talks about children with disability. But it is important that we leave no child behind in our quest to get children educated. And it is also sad that a lot of parents who have children with disability, for one form of stigma or the other, are shy to identify we are their children and as such leave them at home. There are also some category of parents who do not know that there are schools that their special children can attend and as such leave them at home. Today, in the course of this program, we are going to show you clips of persons with disability who have made success stories out of their life. The whole essence of the Get Your Child to School campaign, Disability Not a Barrier, is to ensure that as parents with a child with a disability, we want to encourage you to get that child out and send that child to school. If you know of anybody around in your environment who has a disability, who's not aware that they can still go to school, we want you to encourage that person to come out and have access to education. Many people do not believe that persons with disability can be educated. But I want to tell you today that they can indeed be educated. I'm a success story already. I guess if I didn't go to school, I won't be on TV and radio talking to you today. Probably I'll be cap in hand in the street begging for hands. But education, of course, has made a difference. So that's the tone for the conversation today. Rebecca,
yeah.
I introduced you earlier as a volunteer with NAPVID.
Yeah.
But before your contact with NAPVID, I believe you probably share in the view I was talking about that persons with disability can be educated.
Yeah, actually, that's very true. But first of all, before I say anything, I would like to give kudos to NAPVID for a program like this, because one thing I've noticed is that when people are not informed, they do not actually know what to do. And when I was in my junior school at Idia College, I saw a couple of students with disabilities, especially the visually impaired, coming with their system. At that time, I didn't know what it was, and I really wanted to know what it was. I saw students typing with their system, and their paper was quite different. I really wanted to know. I made friends with some of them, and I got to know it was called a barrel, I think. But then when I moved over to further my education at the University of Nigeria, I did not really see a lot of students with disabilities. I did not really see like visually impaired and all that. All of us were all in the same class. Everybody was rushing at the same time. There was nothing like ramps. I can't remember seeing any ramps in any facility, and everybody was rushing in at the same time. The only advantage students with disability had was that they allowed some of them to sit at the front, and that was it. Everybody was rushing out at the same time. Everybody that is pushing was pushing each other. And I think a program like this is helping people know that students with disabilities, they need to go to school too. And I remember when I started my work at NAVID, I met you, Mr. Kingsley, and I was really surprised, and I was like, wow, so this is why people need to know people need to be equipped with the knowledge of how they should take their kids to school, even with a disability, because yes, I've learned that even a child with disability, there is an ability in that disability, yes.
All right, that's a familiar phrase, ability in disability. Yeah. But the sad thing is that when a child with disability is born, the arrival of such child is often greeted with shock and disbelief. And what follows next is parents trading blames over the birth of that child.
Yes.
And what follows next is rejection.
Yeah.
After rejection, the child, having been born into such an environment, give up and just resign to fate.
Sure.
But for some of us who had access to our parents' love and affection, because not many persons with disability have parents have access to their parents' love and affection. I was one of those who had a mother who was very interested in education. And so when I lost my sight, it wasn't a big deal for her. She was looking for an alternative. How can my child be educated? Now he does not have the benefit of sight again. Is that the end of the road for him? There must be a means. And I also had an uncle, Engineer Felix Obano. Shout out to Engineer Felix Obano, who was also very passionate about education. And so they went out, got the information, and sent me back to school. So what happened was that I didn't have to spend so much years at home. The challenge is that a lot of persons with disability spend too long at home before they realize that they can still function and go back to school. There's a young man who listened to Hitches and Voices when we were just only on radio, and reached out to us. And he went to primary school at the age of 19.
Wow.
That would not necessarily happen to a regular kid. But because the information came late, he had to go to primary school at the age of 19. That's just one of the many cases. But the good news about that young man is that he graduated last year. He's currently serving in Asaba. So age for persons with disability is also not a barrier.
Yes.
It's never too late, you know, to go to school. You know.
And to add to what you said, I was talking to our director, Barrister Melody Omosa, and he made mention of a lady, Kindness, that was, I think she got blind. She had a physical disability when she was in her JS2, and she couldn't go to school. But then she got a contact with NAVID in 2013, and she was still able to go back to the class she started from. And now she graduated. I think she's about to call to bar. Coming. And I was amazed, like the fact that she was able to go back to the class she stopped at and finished, and now she's done with, like, it's amazing. And it's a way for people to know that no age is a barrier. There is no disability is not a barrier, and age is also not a barrier.
I mean, you've been at NAVID, you've interacted with children, students,
that's true.
pupils with disability. What's your perception about them?
Oh, okay. So before I talk about my current perception about them, I'll talk about before I joined NAVID. Okay, I did not really have so much knowledge. I just thought when you see a person with disability, you should feel sorry. You should pity them and just want to help. Let me help you. Let me do this. Are you sure you're good? I'm sorry. But I've met a lot of students with disability that they'll tell me, no, I'm fine. I can walk on my own. I'm like, are you sure? Let me help you. I've seen a lot of people that are able to do things themselves without needing someone to help them, like be at their beck and call. And that has changed my perspective a whole lot. I have interesting conversations with students, and I'm like, okay, so we don't need to talk about your disability all the time. We can have meaningful conversation, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
No, our lives does not evolve around our disability.
Yes, it doesn't.
We have other things to talk about, definitely. Yeah. But so that we don't just talk in the studio, you know, so that you have a better understanding of what we are saying, let's zero in a clip, and we'll be right back to talk some more.
Education is a must for people with disabilities. It's about the only way they can express themselves. They do not have so much when it comes to using their physicality, but when their innate ability is developed, they are in a position to contribute to societal growth. But unfortunately, only less than 10% of people with disability can access education. We have also had to renovate one of the schools, Yogbe College in Benin. The reason we did that was not just for the purpose of renovation. We needed to make that school inclusive, because there were no ramps in the place, and it was difficult for those that uses wheelchair or uses clutches to access the school. So we have to provide ramps to ensure that easy access. Our concern is that there shouldn't be one child with a disability who wants to go to school and who cannot access education because of fund and other limiting situations. We have to provide scholarships, we have to provide grants, we have to renovate schools, we have to provide special learning materials for these students. We also have to provide hostel accommodation to ensure that everyone that wants to go to school, much as that there's that desire to learn, will make it possible.
In the year 2010, I lost my left sight. 2014, I also lost my right sight.
I lost my sight when I was a child.
Watching my younger ones go to school, most times I just cry inside, lock myself off. I felt really hopeless. My name is Chijioke Victory.
My name is Osariejo Imaswe. Just finished from the University of Benin Faculty of Law.
My name is Orukwe Blessing Epugiawe, student of University of Benin, Uniben.
In 2023, I got introduced to NAVID. I was immediately sent to Idia College to get rehabilitated in the area of Braille. And for the 1 year I spent in Idia College, NAVID was responsible for my accommodation. And also they provided me some materials to aid my learnings, like the typewriter, the recorder, slates and stylus, and also got me a cane guide.
Through NAVID, I was able to meet one of the biggest supporters of my education, Senator Comrade Adams Oshomole. He took interest in me and basically adopted me and said he'd sponsor me to any level of education I wish to attain.
NAVID is supporting me on level, my ancestral fees, school fees, and in my current 300 level.
Thank you very much, NAVID, for the good thing you've done for me, for taking me out of my sorrows and taking me to a place of joy.
I'm also very grateful to NAVID for their continuous support from primary school to date.
I want to say a very big thank you to NAVID, how they have been supporting me, they have been helpful to me in my education. I will also make them better.
My name is Agam Abraham, a visually impaired special education student. I'm currently in the University of Benin studying special education. I first came in contact with NAVID in the year 2022 after my secondary school education. Then I was about to take JAMB, but no fund and I don't know where to go. So that was when I met NAVID, and to God be the glory, they assisted me, they stood beside me all throughout my JAMB and my WAEC and NECO process. Then I finally got admission into the University of Benin. To God be the glory. They have also been beside me and taking care of my school fees, hostel accommodation fees, assisting me in my textbook and other things that will aid my learning that will make it easy. But thank God now I'm 200 level, and I want to tell Navid and everybody behind this that God will bless them and thank God for their good work. The advice I'm going to give any visually impaired is that they should never give up and feel all is lost, because in every disability there's always ability, and they should just try and buckle up and should not just wait for maybe push until when they are being pushed for they make a move. They should always be ready to make move at what time that will make them to grow better.
Fantastic. Education indeed makes the difference. For many persons with disability, we do not have the chance to do menial jobs. And as such, we put our everything, every effort in education. Now, those kids you've seen, those children you've seen, those students you've seen, that's just the minority of hundreds of persons with disability who've been able to make a difference as a result of education. Whether those with hearing impairment, visual impairment, those on crutches or wheelchair, education indeed has made a huge impact in their life. So if you are parents out there, this should definitely challenge you to bring your child out with disability to school. If you know anybody in your neighborhood with any disability, encourage them to, go back to school, and it is never too late. I guess so.
Yes. And so, Mr. Kingsley, I have a question for you. Earlier on during our conversation, you made mention of how through the help and love of your mother, it was very easy for you to transit when you recently lost your sight.
Yep.
So I have a question. What role
it's not recent though.
No, of course not recent. So I have a question. How did the people around, aside, outside family, people in the society, how did they help you blend in back into the society? Because there's this saying that it's not just the family that raises a child. Community also helps to raise a child. How did the community help you blend back into the society after losing your sight?
All right. Usually for someone with disability like myself, people definitely do not have the belief that you can even go to school. So seeing you getting ready to go to school every day, for some, it's maybe a way of just whiling away time. Maybe you just need to go somewhere to get yourself busy. So there are doubts from some family members, from associate friends. Some people might have doubts. But it is incumbent on you now to prove yourself. Yes. It will get to a certain point, they now realize that, oh, it is not a fluke. Yes. This guy actually means business. Yeah. When I left primary school and I got to secondary school, they were my fellow students who felt that, oh, can this guy learn? Yeah. And so when the results started coming out, obviously they changed their mind. Yeah. So people around you will definitely welcome your desire to go to school with some skepticism. Yeah. But as long as you continue to work hard and prove yourself, definitely you're going to... There's always attitudinal problem towards persons with disability, societal discrimination. Yeah. So you will always get that as one with a disability. But at the long run, the end always justifies the means. So it's always a success story at the end of the day. But like I said, the first place of acceptance should be at the family level. Where many persons with disability face difficulty is the rejection from home, the discrimination from home. And so when you start facing that, you don't even, there's no chance to even have a conversation as to going to school. Yes. So that's why many persons with disability stay at home for a long time before going back to school. I didn't have to face that because, like I said, I had access to my parents' love and affection, and so that helped me a lot.
Okay, that's great. And it's good to know that, and it's true, if the family does not help in situations like that, it will be difficult to even accept the help and love from outside, because charity begins at home. I don't know why I'm making quotes, but then it always starts from the house. And it's amazing to know that you got the love first from home before it started coming in from outside. That's amazing.
That's why we try to define the disability not from a medical perspective. Disability is not a medical condition. Disability are those barriers, those obstacles that prevent persons with disability from attaining their full potential. And one of those barriers is locking them indoors, not allowing them to access education. And there are also parents and persons with disability who, due to one or two religious beliefs, live in certain denial. No, I can't accept. I'm not blind. I'm not deaf. Well, I do not, I'm not against anybody exercising their faith. But while you are doing that, it is also good you take advantage of the opportunity you have, which is education. There is another way to read and write if you are a blind person. There's another way to read and write if you are a deaf person. And there's another way to assess your environment if you are someone on a wheelchair and on crutches. It is just for society to make our environment more inclusive and more accessible for persons with disability. And there's no height we cannot reach.
Yeah, and I completely agree with what you're saying. And with programs like this, more parents get to see other students that are disabled. They are going to school, they are getting good education, they are becoming amazing people in life. It will push them more to bring out the kids that they've locked in, or bring them out and also send them to school. So I will commend programs like this, because for NAVVID, commend what NAVVID is doing, because it's enlightening these people, enlightening parents. When parents watch programs like this and see the testimonies from students that were able to go to school, and like Kindness, who is currently is almost done with her law school, it's amazing, and to push the parents to do more with their kids. So I commend this.
Commendation to parents who are proud of their kids with disability, who brought them out early, and for those who didn't bring them out early, but when they got the information, they rose up to the occasion, brought their children with disability to school. We want more enrollments for kids with disability. Unfortunately, we do not have so many special schools in Edo State. That's a sad tale. But at least, let's make do of the ones we have. There is a school for the blind. There is a school for the deaf. There is a school for those with intellectual disability. And if your child is on crutches or in wheelchair, there's definitely a school. All you need to do is to reach out to us at NAVVID, number 34, Arosa Street, off Sopomba Road, here in Benin City. Number 34, Arosa Street, off Sopomba Road, here in Benin City. We'll guide you, we'll give you all the necessary information you need so that you can help that child get back to school. And if you are one with a disability, you pass school age, maybe you're in your 30s, 40s, that's what we call rehabilitation. You have to learn a new way of doing things. You know, some people will ask, how will I write again? How will I read again? It is possible. You can write with your laptop. You can read in Braille. For persons with hearing impairment, definitely there's sign language. Once you are taught how to sign, that is a language of itself. I want to encourage government to always do the needful. Help us to make schooling for persons with disability more accessible and more inclusive. It's a wrap on today's edition of the program. Rebecca, thank you for coming on HITCHES and Voices.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to our sign language interpreter, Cynthia Godwin-Aya. We'll do this again next week. My name is Kingsley Okoje, saying, spot the hitch and be a voice. Goodbye.